When Whoopi Goldberg decides to speak her mind, she doesn't whisper, she detonates. And if there's one celebrity who knows the difference between genuine talent and Hollywood vanity, it's Whoopi. So when she reportedly took a swipe at Meghan Markle's little-announced, little-celebrated return to acting, the shock wasn't in what she said, but in how brutally accurate it felt. Because let's be honest, Meghan Markle isn't storming back into Hollywood with power, purpose, or prestige. She's drifting back, cautiously, almost nervously, like someone testing the temperature of a pool everyone else already swam in, dried off from, and moved on from. And Whoopi, a woman with an EGOT, a feat Meghan couldn't even name without Googling, allegedly looked at the situation and said what many quietly mutter. Hollywood isn't a charity. It's not waiting to hand you back what you abandoned. Savage? Maybe. True? Painfully. Meghan once described acting as a chapter she closed. She announced, proudly, that she had evolved beyond scripts and studios, into duchesshood and destiny. But now, after royal life proved heavier than tiaras and carefully filtered Netflix monologues, where do we find her? Back on set, doing a cameo in a film surrounded by real actors, actors who built their careers the hard way, stayed in the grind, and didn't treat the industry like a backup plan when their crown-chasing ambitions soured. This is what Whoopi reportedly couldn't stomach, the entitlement. The delusion that Hollywood would bow just because royalty once did. Hollywood doesn't kneel. It replaces you. And so here we are, a Meghan, returning as if she's doing the industry a favor, floating into casting conversations like a duchess in exile searching for relevance, while unions of real working actors fight daily for fair wages, auditions, and survival. Meghan didn't just leave Hollywood, she proclaimed she had outgrown it. Now she creeps back hoping memory is merciful and fame is forgiving. It isn't. Whoopi, a champion of craft and performance, allegedly saw Meghan's re-entry and called out exactly what it looked like, a vanity resurrection, not an artistic return. A woman chasing spotlight, not storytelling. A performer trading palace cushions for studio chairs because the first throne didn't pan out. This isn't a comeback. It's a boomerang of ego. Whoopi didn't, in this imagined scenario, critique Meghan for trying again. Resilience is admirable. Reinvention is brave. But what grated was the tone. The assumption. The whispered expectation that executives would roll out a red carpet the moment she fluttered an eyelash in their direction. But Hollywood isn't Buckingham Palace. You don't tell it you're ready, you earn your place. Meghan seems to forget the fundamental rule of show business. Exposure isn't talent. Fame isn't skill. Headlines aren't heritage. And no amount of Montecito wellness quotes or heavily produced Netflix confessional substitutes for craft. A star isn't someone who announces significance, a star is someone who commands it without demanding applause. Whoopi allegedly slammed Meghan not because she returned, but because she returned expecting applause before performance. That's the difference between artists and attention seekers. One shows up to work. The other shows up to be seen. There is an imbalance here, a tension between who Meghan wants to be and what she is willing to do. She wants prestige without perspiration, legacy without loyalty, Hollywood halos without Hollywood hours. She wants the symbol of success, not the sacrifice behind it. Whoopi's imagined critique wasn't merely personal, it was generational. She represents an era where performers earned their stripes. Where roles weren't granted by surname, marriage, or PR strategy, but by grit, grind, and guts. Meghan, by contrast, represents the era of self-branding and narrative curation, a world where being talked about is confused with being accomplished. Where talking about doing something is treated as equal to doing it. Where visibility masquerades as value. And that is the sting. Meghan wants the admiration of Hollywood without enduring the gauntlet of Hollywood. She wants prestige without pressure, acclaim without audition, and stardom without sweat. Whoopi's alleged criticism cuts because it isn't cruel, it's accurate. It isn't petty, it's principled. You cannot walk away from a field claiming enlightenment, only to return pretending your throne is still there. Thrones are not paused. Thrones are filled. Meghan struggled with the monarchy because hierarchy suffocated her. Fine. Fair. But Hollywood has a hierarchy too, and unlike royalty, it cannot be married into. It must be earned, suffered for, fought for. And now, she stands at the studio gates again, not as a duchess with influence but as an actress with expectations. And Hollywood, camouflaged in smiles and meetings, remembers everything. It remembers who left. It remembers who declared herself beyond it. And it certainly remembers when someone tries to use its spotlight not as a platform, but as a mirror. If Whoopi truly slammed Meghan, it wasn't to shade her ambition, it was to remind her of humility. Stardom is not a second act reserved for those who tired of palaces. Talent is not a hobby revived when royal dreams fade. And Hollywood does not exist to validate bruised egos or revive fading fairy tale illusions. Meghan may yet succeed. Resilience matters. Reinvention is noble. But success never comes to those who believe the work is beneath them. And the harsh truth remains. Hollywood didn't need Meghan Markle when she left. It doesn't need her now that she's crawling back. Whether she learns that this time will determine whether she rises as an actress or remains a title holder searching for relevance in whichever world will.